I just signed the Omnibus Agricultural Appropriations Bill. I earlier this morning signed the Green Acres Bill. And this appropriations bill is an example of how we can work constructively and effectively together on a bipartisan basis. And I want to thank the chairs of the House and the Senate committees, Chair Hamilton, Senator Magnus. I want to thank the ranking members, Representative Eken, Senator Kubly. I want to thank the Farm Bureau, represented by its president, Kevin Paap, and the Farmers Union, represented by its president, Doug Peterson, and Commissioner David Frederickson, the Commissioner of Agriculture. All these gentlemen up here, as well as the Michelle Kelm-Helgen, have worked very, very hard on this legislation to achieve the success. And the principles that I established are the ones that were followed and should serve as a model for our future efforts together, which is one that the dollars appropriated conformed closely to my recommendation, and certainly the legislature has a right to exercise its own prerogative in that regard, and I respect that. And also, two chairs very graciously removed a couple of items, policy matters that were of concern, and so on that basis, the bill's signed, and we have a bipartisan success to show for it. So I, again, want to thank the legislative leaders and the organization leaders, Commissioner Frederickson, and let me ask the chair of the Senate Agriculture Committee, Senator Magnus, to speak.
Thank you very much, Governor. A good day for Minnesota, a good day for Minnesota agriculture. We've maintained all along that agriculture is a strong part of our economy, and for Minnesota to be strong, it's key that we keep agriculture strong also. We're one of the largest agricultural states in the United States, sixth largest agriculture producer. You know, the cuts, we all know we're in difficult budget problems, and we have serious budget challenges ahead of us. We recognize that in the agricultural community also. We needed to step up and take our share of the challenge on. So we do see some reductions in spending, no doubt about it, but we went in committed to protect our core missions, protect our livestock industry, protect the food safety. And again, one of the key provisions for me, and I know the governor, as we've talked, and my friends in the legislature, is to maintain our export support. President Obama has it as one of his major initiatives that we double agricultural exports from the United States. We have a tremendously wealthy agricultural country, one of the wealthiest in the world. We have, I submit, a moral responsibility to use the technology available to us, the best technology in the world, to use our vast agriculture resources to provide the food and food supplies to the rest of the world. The governor and I and others up here in front will be working on that hard the rest of our terms and later on this year. And so I want to emphasize that we are able to keep our core missions going and work on this. The governor's correct. We've went into this session with strong feelings in mind that we were going to work in a bipartisan fashion. We were going to be professionals. We were going to do what's best for the state, what's best for agriculture in this case, and work in a strong bipartisan fashion. And I want to thank very much the people that worked on the majority side, our side of the aisle. They were great. I wanted to thank the minority members led by Senator Kubly in the Senate and Representative Eken in the House for their efforts. Everyone chipped in and did a good job. I want to thank Commissioner Dave Frederickson and his staff. Commissioner Frederickson and I have known each other a long, long time, and what a great person to work with. And I want to thank you, Governor, and your staff. We've done quite a few things already this year together, and I'm looking forward to some more exciting news coming out in a short time period. So I want to thank everyone very much, our staff and everyone else, for a good bill. Tough decisions to make, but a good bill and good for Minnesota. Thank you very much. Rod?
It's great following Senator Magnus. He's my senator, and I never have to say anything. I can just come up and say ditto, you know. It's Dougie, you're my friend. Governor, thank you so much for working with us as well and laying out a roadmap and some of your expectations. I want to talk more about the process. Representative Eken, it's always a pleasure to work with you, my friend. And in the Ag Committee, this happened long before I got here. Ag Committee has typically been bipartisan, if not nonpartisan. And we do everything we can to have an open process, take testimony from everybody that has an interest, and again, just weigh out the pros and the cons of the issue. And like Senator Magnus pointed out, our ultimate goal, our ultimate mission was to uphold the integrity of the food supply. And so how can that really be bipartisan or nonpartisan or excuse me, partisan? And so again, the process. One of the things I would really like to stress is the importance of the staff that we have working with us. They are phenomenal, whether it's on your side, the Democrat side, or the Republican side. The staff is amazing. Joni and Linda and Mr. Reinholtz and Colby Sullivan and Pages and everything else, they get a tremendous amount of credit in order to get this stuff accomplished. So, Governor, I want to thank you once again for signing the Ag Bill and everybody that was a part of that. And with that, I think everything has been said. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. I think the others have mentioned the things that I wanted to say, but we'll see after I conclude my comments if you can guess on the basis of how long we talked which one of us is a country preacher. Anyway, I think this is my 15th year here. I've been on the Ag Committee every year. The Ag Committee has a strong tradition of working in a bipartisan fashion. To me, it exemplifies the kind of cooperation, the willingness to compromise that you need in politics. It seems to me if you don't have those two elements, you should probably find something else to do. But I think kudos really to Senator Magnus and Representative Hamilton for their leadership. They were genuinely interested in looking for a compromise. I think what we got probably didn't leave anyone on the committee without a little bit of heartburn, and maybe the governor too, I don't know. But they were interested in working with all of us. They listened to everybody, including the governor. It was clear they wanted a bill that would pass, and I think it's to their credit that we arrived at the point we did. So thanks to our leadership on the committee, both in the Senate and in the House, and to the governor. I think they've all compromised, and I hope we can serve as an example on the Ag Committee for other committees moving to this point in their status this year, bringing forth a bill that will be acceptable to all parties. Thank you.
Well, again, a lot has already been said about the process and how well it worked, and the fact that this really does, I think, serve as a good model, as the governor had said, for future negotiations on the other bills. A good example of how government really should work. It was a very open process, and I have to thank Representative Hamilton, Chair Hamilton, and Chair Magnus as well, and it's been a great pleasure working with both of them, and Chair Hamilton working throughout the whole session on the Ag Bill. And Chair Hamilton did run a very open process, very nonpartisan, as was already stated. And so I want to thank them, and Representative Hamilton also mentioned the staff, the important role that they played. I just thought I'd mention also Nancy Connolly was on our staff and did tremendous work as well. Would like to also thank Commissioner Frederickson and Ms. Gauthier for their hard work. They were involved in this process from beginning to end. And again, a good model because it involved everyone negotiating with everyone else, and so very important. It shows what can be done. I think when you're using real numbers and making reasonable cuts, we did make cuts in this bill. but those cuts were reasonable and done with a scalpel rather than a meat axe. We made sure we did it in a way that's not going to do harm to our economic rural development, and that's going to, in some cases, we increase support in some areas. One area that I'm particularly happy about was the increase in support for ag in the classroom and ag literacy. That's very important, especially in this day and age when fewer and fewer people are born on the farm or in rural communities. I think it's very important that people understand the important role that agriculture plays in our society and where their food is coming from. And so I'm particularly proud of that, that particular piece of it. But again, a great process, and I thank the governor too for leading the way with a great proposal that I think really did recognize the importance of agriculture in our society. It's a small portion of the budget, but it has a very significant impact because agriculture is so important. And after all, as the saying goes, farming is everybody's bread and butter. So thank you.
Well, as a Minnesota corn and soybean farmer, you learn at a young age, timing and timeliness is very important. A lot of things we do on the farms and ranches in Minnesota. And I, on behalf of the Minnesota Farm Bureau members, want to thank the governor as well as the ag committees for their timeliness on this. You know, we're in the spring, that time of renewal, and as far as our Minnesota Farm Bureau members go, we're real excited to have that signed bill before we get in the tractor and start our spring planting. So thank you on the timeliness and the example you've set. So thank you.
Well, thanks for coming, and I just want to turn to the man I think it's probably, I'll just say this, Mark, we have a governor that understands agriculture and understands family farms in Minnesota, and a sincere thank you from Minnesota Farmers Union and farmers across Minnesota with your signing of this bill. I think this bill is an example of what can be done in a bipartisan matter, and frankly, the message is bigger than the state of Minnesota. You have one small agricultural bill here, and not a small deal for the state of Minnesota, but an example of what can be done when there is give and take, and both sides understand the importance of the piece of legislation in front of them. With that, we thank you again, and I think we should give Mr. Dayton, Governor Dayton, a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I think everything that needed to be said has now been said, for sure. Again, I want to acknowledge your great leadership as we move through this process. Governor Dayton has been involved every step of the way. We've had an open dialogue with the governor, and I also want to acknowledge the great work on the part of Chairman Hamilton and Chairman Magnus. They're both old friends, as Chairman Magnus said, and it's a lot easier to deal with friends in this capacity. I want to also acknowledge other members of the conference committee. Senator Dames is standing in the back, Senator Nenow, Senator Miller, and I'm not sure of other House members. This is a dangerous and risky thing to do, but nonetheless, I did it. I also want to acknowledge our staff, Greta Gauthier, who was so key in, Greta, hold your hand up back there, so key as we moved through this entire process. Assistant Commissioner Jim Borboom standing in the back, Deputy Commissioner Jim Borboom, Assistant Commissioner Charlie Poster, and Assistant Commissioner Matt Woolman, all instrumental in helping move this good piece of legislation forward. So once again, Governor, thank you so much for your hard work.